This mutation is called Choices, and it is being played on Temple of the Past. We have 3 mutators active. We have Hardened Will, we have Inspiration, and we have Mutually Assured Destruction. So Hardened Will and Inspiration, they're reasonably similar, and usually they end up being together in weekly mutations. And yeah, Hardened Will basically makes the enemy heroic units reduce all incoming damage to 10 when there are non-heroic units nearby, and this can be a little bit tricky. And we also have the Inspiration, which is the enemy heroic units will buff the units around them. Now, Hardened Will is interesting because certain commanders are not really affected very much by Hardened Will. So if you have a commander with a set of units that deal less than 10 damage per cycle, and one example here is, for example, Raynor Marines, these units will actually just ignore Hardened Will and render that kind of useless. But if you have slow rate of fire but high damage units, then they will obviously be affected by this mutator. So one of the strengths here for Swann is his ability to deal with Hardened Will through his laser drill. His laser drill does deal constant damage, but it deals it at a high rate of fire and a low damage count, and that is why Hardened Will can be countered by Swann reasonably effectively. Similar thing here for Vorazun Corsairs. They don't really have a high damage output, but they do have a high rate of fire, and that is why, again, Hardened Will can be used to counter these units can be used to counter Hardened Will. Now, the other mutator here that is active is Mutually Assured Destruction, and Mutually Assured Destruction is probably one of the more difficult mutators to deal with. There are a lot of hybrids on the map, and every single time a hybrid dies, it will detonate a nuke. Now, the type of hybrid that dies also determines the size of the nuke. You have minor hybrids and you have major hybrids. So the major hybrids are the hybrid domineers, the ones that spellcast your face and kill you instantly. And you also have the hybrid behemoths, which are the big fat red hybrids. And those two are the major hybrids. They will detonate a large nuke. And the minor hybrids are every one of the other hybrids that I did not mention, and they detonate a slightly smaller nuke. But regardless, it is a nuke and it will one-shot pretty much all the units that are in that area. So it does make it a little bit tricky. Now, as I am casting this game, it means that I have already played this game, and I have found that it is probably better to get the tuna fish hybrids, the little flying hybrids, instead of the ground hybrids. And what I found was because the ground hybrids are melee, or essentially melee, they basically try and walk up to your face and try and maul you. And that is a bit of a problem if you're trying to kill units off. You can see the time stop has come down over here, and Swann's going to use now his combat drop, just try and push and apply some pressure on the map. But as I was thinking about the hybrids, what usually happens is that the ground hybrids will try and get up in your face, and when you try and kill them, they'll detonate a large nuke, and then you end up losing your entire army. The tuna fish hybrids are they're ranged. They're ranged units, so they do give you a little bit more time to get out of the way before they detonate their nuke, because there is a small cooldown. There is a small delay before the nuke goes off. It does give you a little bit of time. But if the hybrid is a melee hybrid, it's pretty much in your face, which is a bit of a problem. See here, Swann's laser drill doing a lot of work in killing these units on the side. That's something else to note as well about the hybrids. And just applying a little bit of early game pressure does make it a little bit easier throughout the later stages of the game, where you will need some more damage output, and you will need to be able to push through and deal with the final set of Void Thrashers. But overall, we can have a look at the masteries as well. We have the Black Hole Duration, Time Stop Speed Increase, and the Initial Spear for Dune Energy. So the Initial Spear for Dune Energy, generally speaking, is not very useful unless you're trying to reach a certain breakpoint. But having the Initial Spear for Dune Energy at the start here is what makes this a little bit useful, because it allows Vorazun to put down extra Dark Pylons and use their Shadow Guard a little bit more aggressively. You can see here that the laser drill is being trained on this hybrid. It doesn't really matter that this hybrid has this Hardened Will buff, but it's just as long as this laser drill is able to deal some damage here. Swann has gone for the Concentrated Beam combat drop duration. Again, it's a little bit of a split. The Concentrated Beam is just going to allow him to get the optimal width to be able to one-shot pretty much the launch of the attack waves. We have the Immortality Protocol, and then we have a small split into the drill upgrade and the Vespene Drone Mastery as well. Getting the Vespene Drones out a little bit quicker is going to be very useful for Vorazun, who's very, very gas heavy. Even though Vorazun now is floating around 1000 gas, it's not going to be the case for very, very long. Vorazun tends to float gas during the start of the mission, and then starts to to float a lot of minerals throughout the later stages of the mission. You see here, this hybrid now still has a Hardened will. There are a bunch of adepts here, and this drill is being trained onto this one hybrid here, and these Dark Templars have to be a little bit careful to make sure. But you can see how this hybrid is ranged, so it does allow these Dark Templars to actually get out of the way, and this thing will get picked off now by the laser drill. And now we will have a bunch of upgrades that will be coming up for Swann, and we are starting off with the level 1 attack upgrades, the Maelstrom rounds, and the laser drill upgrade as well. The laser drill upgrade, as usual, will increase the damage output of the laser drill. It's very, very important to do that, just to be able to weaken the rest of the enemy units as well, and as well give access to the concentrated beam, which is going to be very, very useful. And now we have another time stop over here. Drill is going to be trained again. A few Dark Templars, and now we have a combat drop as well that is being dropped here to just try and deal against some more damage with this stuff, and again clear out these pylons, because if you do not completely clear the site, Amon will try and hide some probes in the corner of the map somewhere, and then these probes will just go and rebuild everything. So it basically, all the effort that you take just gets wasted, and you don't really end up benefiting from the initial clearing that you do during the start of the mission. And they will put down a lot of static defense as well. See here, Swann is just slowly pushing through here, and now we have a bunch of Dark Templars as well. And the goal now is to just take out, you can see there, this guy. That one guy over there has started to rebuild everything that has come up here, and now there's another attack wave that is there at the back, which is a bit of a problem because Vorazun is out of position here, and Swann will have to go and deal with this attack wave himself. So what's the goal now is there is a recall to get units into position here, but it is a little bit too risky, and now there is a concentrated beam that pretty much one-shots the entire attack wave. A few stalkers off on the edge, it's not really too bad. Now there is a bit of a problem here for Swann, is because that concentrated beam has been used, Swann doesn't have an answer for the attack wave that'll be coming up his side. So one of the things about Swann, if anyone has played them for a little bit, knows that he's kind of a slow commander. He does need to have a few units out before he's able to be effective on the mission, and he relies on the skull downs to provide himself with the extra added benefit of the unit of like some kind of pushing power. So you can see here there are just there are 2 siege tanks, 4 siege tanks now coming up along the way, and we have a bunch of Goliaths. This is going to be a little bit tricky for Swann to handle. So this is going to be a bit of an issue. You can see the laser drill has already started to be trained on this side, and now there is a tuna fish hybrid on that side, and that is going to be able to detonate a nuke. So yeah, Swann has to be again really, really careful. Picks up the rest of these units, tries to snipe off some of these, and now he's going to try moving back. Just try to make sure it doesn't take too much damage. One Goliath moved to the front here just to draw aggro of these hybrids, so that the hybrids do not move forward a little bit. And now unfortunately this other hybrid is actually trying to intercept the Goliaths here, so these science vessels are pretty much already gone here. These science vessels will end up going down. It is a bit of a problem now for Swann, but he will be able to deal with this without too many problems. The siege tanks are now out, ends up straighting up the stalkers, but now the next part of the attack wave has come up. They have the Corsair with a disruption web ability that gets dropped, does stall some of the damage output here, and now there's another hybrid that ends up going down. Stalkers do end up getting cleared out, and all seems to be okay for now. And I think initially there was also a pulse cannon that had gotten dropped here for Swann to end up clearing out the attack wave. And this is what I was saying. Swann has a little bit of a hard time getting set up because, you know, his economy is very, very weak, but it won't be really too bad in later stages of the game. So now we have another attack wave that has spawned. Again, Vorazun is able to clear that out without too many problems. And Swann now is getting ready to start pushing down this lane. Again, the goal is to try and clear this mission and all clear the enemy bases as quickly as possible. There is a time stop now that gets to drop, and Vorazun is going to end up clearing out the ground forces of this attack wave. I think there might be a few units as well on the inside. I'm not really sure. There's another nuke that goes off, 2 nukes that go off. Some of the Corsairs do get caught in that nuke, but they do get emergency recalled. And now all that is left is this one hybrid. This hybrid is pretty much going to get cleaned out without too many problems. On the side, Swann is starting to clear out the enemy base again. As you can see, there are only 4 siege tanks in this mix. A few more siege tanks will be added here, but you don't really want to parade push them through just in case there are a bunch of hybrids. But that area has been completely cleared out now, and that is going to be okay. Over here now, Vorazun will start to clear these Sandstones. So the Sandstone will go down very, very quickly. And now we have to get ready for the first Void Thrasher spawn of this mission. The drill has been fully upgraded as well, which is going to be very beneficial for the rest of these commanders. We can see here that the upgrades here for Swann, they're getting the Goliath upgrades as well. So the Goliath upgrades are very, very useful. We have the multi-lock weapon system, and we have the Ares class targeting system as well. Increasing the Goliath range is one of the ways that Swann can use to deal with the with the tuna fish hybrids. So the extra range from these Goliaths means that they can kite the hybrid back and attack it from a higher range, and that also gives Swann a bit of an added benefit. You can see the range of these Goliaths are really good right now, and additionally Swann also has an upgrade in the armory which increases his weapon ranges by 1. I think it's by 1, and that is even better. So having a maxed range Goliath is just absolutely invaluable for a mission, for a mutator like Mutually Assured Destruction. For Vorazun, we do have the upgrade, the standard upgrade for Vorazun. So we have the Blink, we have the Shadow Fury upgrade. Make sure you do not get the Stasis upgrade. I can't remember what it's called for the Dark Templars because that was not really useful. And we also have the Disruption Web upgrade and the Cloaking upgrade for the Corsairs. They're very standard upgrades, but very important for Vorazun's effectiveness in the mission. And now the commanders are getting ready to deal with the next set of spawns here. And this is going to be the first set of drop attacks that will be coming up. And then we'll have the next set of spawns over here. So there'll be a Void Thrasher now that'll be coming up. Vorazun's already in position to try and spawn camp this Void Thrasher. And so far, so good. The Void Thrasher gets instantly deleted. And Vorazun's just going to push forward here now and just provide a little bit more cleaning ability. You can see how the probes move out of the way. And this is why sneaking in a probe is going to be a... You have to really pay attention to how Amon tries to hide their probes in the corners of the map, because if you do not kill off all the probes will just sit down and rebuild. Amon doesn't really care about mining. He gets, I think, about 50,000 minerals every 10 seconds or something. He's not going to be running out of minerals anytime soon. Now we have a bunch of Goliaths as well that are ready now to try and deal with the next set of attack waves that'll be coming up. And the second Sandstone have already been cleared out by Vorazun, and you know, the Science Vessel as well, providing a little bit of vision for Swann. And now the first Concentrate Beam comes out. Nice black hole on there. Concentrate catches all the Warp Prisms, and the Concentrate Beam comes up now. And we'll have to be a little bit careful of these Goliaths now. You can see the nuke goes off and does clip some of these Goliaths at the end, which is somewhat unfortunate. I was not actually expecting that to hit my Goliaths. Just goes to show you the range of those nukes over here. Now again, the rest of these units are getting caught in by the black hole, and now there's the Goliaths are going to be moved out of the way. They do not want to get nuked again by these things. And all that is left now are a few Warp Prisms. Siege tanks do get unloaded now and just completely shred the enemy units on that side. And whatever units have been unloaded, they say goodbye. And yeah, we can see here, this is the advanced optics upgrade was the one I was talking about. That has been researched now, and that is after the level 2 upgrades that have been coming up for Swann. You can actually try and rush these upgrades as well a little bit early. That'll allow your Goliaths a little bit more early game strength when it comes to dealing with the hybrids. But the one thing to take note is that if you do go for this upgrade before you get your attack upgrades, your Goliaths are going to be a little bit weaker, and you will have to rely maybe on a little bit of ally DPS. You can see the effectiveness of this disruption web just completely disabling the enemy units here. And now there's another combat drop that has been come up here to just clear out the enemy units that are getting caught in that black hole. And now we have the first major hybrid spawn, and that is this hybrid Dominator that is over there. A few tuna fish hybrids over here, very nice kiting on both of these commander sports. They're just trying to dodge here, and there's just a focus down to that one tuna fish hybrid. And there you can see that hybrid Dominator has been taken out as well. And remember, this combat drop is free. Its goal is to basically just clean up the hybrids over here. So what you can see here, the combat drop are just softening up these enemy units and then moving back and then just sniping them off one by one and just letting the drill do the job over here. Again, there's one last hybrid over here, a little bit more micro on this side. Get some more focus fire down. Combat drop gets pulled back. Hybrid dies. No casualties, I think, for the most part. I think maybe a few Corsairs might have been clipped, but that is not really too much of a problem. You know, if you're losing 1 or 2 units every single engage, it's not really that bad. It's when you lose your entire army and you drop 50 supply, 60 supply, that's when bad stuff happens. So here, one pulse cannon comes down again, completely deals with this first deck wave, while Swann gets back into position to deal with the next set of spawns over here. There is another attack wave over here again. Again, Swann is able to deal with this. Another time stop has also come down, and Vorazun is able to clean out that side as well. I think that attack wave ping marker is just a... Okay, there we go. So now there's another attack wave that spawned. Again, Vorazun will have to be a little bit careful. That one hybrid does detonate. Again, you can see the speed of Vorazun's army is what's giving her the advantage over here. She has a high mobility army, which means that she can actually end up sniping a lot of these units very, very quickly. So one tuna fish hybrid goes down, second one gets picked up by the drill. Both nukes go off right now, and Vorazun is nowhere to be seen in that vicinity, which is getting a lot of good value. Again, there's one big hybrid dominator over there. You can see some of these Dark Templars do end up getting clipped by that nuke, and now there's again another hybrid that comes up. Pull back right now, and now the Goliaths will have to deal with this attack wave. Another concentrate beam comes up, completely cleans up pretty much the whole set of the side, but now there is another drop attack that's coming up, and now Goliaths are going to be getting back into position, and now this Hercules will be going to unload if there are too many enemy units. So you can see there are a few enemy units over here. Siege tanks just get loaded up. Tuna fish hybrid as well comes back, tries to harass them on the side. Some of the science vessels does end up getting clipped, but for the most part, all seems okay on the northern side. And I think that is pretty much it. I think. Is there a Dark Templar over there? Yeah, there are a bunch of Dark Templars over there. I think Vorazun did end up losing her Oracle. Another one joins into the mix here, ends up cleaning out that side. And now you can see there is a bit of a problem. That the probe that I was talking about earlier is, if you do not completely push through the side, it is going to end up harassing the side. So far, what has happened is that even though Swann cleared at the start of the mission, there was a probe that was hidden on maybe probably somewhere in that side. And that has basically meant that this mission will be completely... this entire lane will be completely undone as a result of this tag wave. And now there has to be a little, they have to be a little bit careful over here. Void Thrasher does end up sending some damage towards the temple, so there was an 8 damage pick here, but so far that should not really be too bad, considering this is a reasonably difficult mutation to deal with. And now the siege tanks get unloaded and they will start shelling at this Void Thrasher. And again, you have to be very, very careful with when you take engages. Like, you can feel very, very safe when you see this kind of army. When you see Swann's army and it's massive, it completely shreds everything that comes through. It's like the high damage rate of this army does mean that you can end up losing your entire army to a bunch of hybrids because they end up dying too fast and they're right on top of your face and you don't really notice that the hybrids have spawned. So over here, the next hybrid has been spawned over here on this side. Again, there has to be a little bit of kiting, and now these phoenixes get completely destroyed by the Corsairs, but there has to be a little bit of maneuvering panache that needs to happen on this side to make sure that Vorazun doesn't lose too much of her army, because that is going to be a bit of a problem on this side as well. There's going to be, again, another attack wave that will be coming up, and there will be hybrids behind it, and now the time stop has come down. So over here, Vorazun is just going to start cleaning up this side, and I think these Dark Templars do end up clearing out here. Unfortunately, they do end up getting caught by the hybrid's nuke, because that hybrid is a major hybrid, and it will be starting to deal a lot of damage. And now you can see on this side, again, a little bit of kiting that needs to be done, and you can see the insane range of it. Just one volley just ends up one-shotting pretty much these hybrids. And now the siege tanks have been sieged up on the back line over there, and they will start shelling off this hybrid. This hybrid stands really no chance. Does end up taking out the science vessels, but that's not too much of a problem. And on this side, this last tuna fish hybrid does end up dying, unfortunately. Oh, nice blink there on the Dark Templars. He does notice that this hybrid does end up dying, so he does end up saving the rest of his units. And now we have one concentrate beam to come up and just completely delete that attack wave. And over here, there is a Dark Pylon that is ready to get vision of this side, but unfortunately that is not good enough. There is a Hercules now that gets tactical jump, and one big pulse cannon completely one-shots the rest of this attack wave. And on here, I think has been pretty much completely clear. There is one Dark Templar that is harassing, and being a little bit annoying, but these units are going to be moving back now. And I think there is no... yeah, there's just basically a bunch of Dark Templars on this side. But now Swann is just going to move over to this side, and he's just going to start clearing the last Sunstone. So a little bit of stutter step forward, just provide a little bit more damage output for his Goliaths. And over here, there is a bunch of Dark Templars that do tend to aggro this dark pylon. Just a bunch of Dark Templars around here now. It's not really too much of a problem, but there we go. 8 damage done to the temple, purely because of Swann's mistake, but that is not too bad. And that is pretty much the temple defended. That is GG.